Sean.
Hi.
Hi. So, inventor of the hottest dating app in the world. I think 6 billion matches to date, thanks to you. Is that correct?
You've made 6 billion, what?
So you've made six
yes.
billion matches, effectively down to you, and there's 1 million new users every week, and apparently, I don't know if this is true, but Tinder is operational in every country in the world.
Yes. Tinder works in over 196 countries.
So tell us first how you came up with the idea for Tinder.
I think meeting new people has always been an important part of humanity, but it's always been like a daunting, challenging process. Like you see somebody that you want to get to know and you have to walk up to them and you might get rejected, or it might not be the right timing because the context isn't there. And we set out on, we had this vision of basically breaking down all those barriers and making it super fun, super easy for people to meet. And we started Tinder for that reason. And I think, like you said, now there's over 6 billion matches that have happened on Tinder. It's actually nearing 10 billion. We say 6 billion, but publicly, but that number keeps growing. And those are, over 10 billion connections that would have otherwise never have existed were not for, this ambitious group back in LA. So I think
I wanted to ask, because the success is astonishing given that Tinder was only launched in 2012.
Yes.
Were you influenced at all by Grindr, which is the gay hookup site that was set up in 2009, I think?
I think so. No. We do something very different, right? Not just the context and category, but the application and the product works very differently. It was more influenced by actually real world scenarios. So, there was a moment where I was sitting with my friends in a restaurant. This is kind of where it all clicked, and we were on our phones, and nobody was talking to each other. 8 people, everyone's on their phone. In like 2012, this was crazy to see. Now that's what everyone does. And what we were doing was trying to get girls to come join us, but there was a group of girls right next to us, and I just didn't understand why we don't talk to them. And then I started to notice some of the barriers and everything. But there was this moment where I looked at one of the girls across the room, and she looked at me back, and I was like, whoa, that just solved all the problems, because now I'm not afraid to talk to her. It was an invite by both of us. So I was like, why don't we just make an app that does that recreates that moment. And if you can do that, whether it's in business, romance, anything, pre-qualify a relationship, you remove all the barriers.
Eliminating the rejection.
The rejection, and making it fun.
Yeah.
I think meeting new people should be fun. It's a part of life.
And I know you've talked about Tinder going beyond romance,
Mm-hmm.
becoming an app that does something more than that. What does that mean, and what's the ultimate vision?
I think the ultimate vision is to be the place you go to when you want to meet somebody new, and to sort of make these connections that are unspoken for. And I think right now we're doing that very well when it comes to dating and romance, but people are amazingly already using Tinder for more than that. So we call it hacking Tinder internally. You'll see users traveling the world. They will match with locals to find out, basically get local recommendations. They'll make friends when they move into a new town, because it's just such an efficient way of meeting new people that people start using it for a variety of reasons. Over time, we're learning from that, and I think we're constantly thinking about how we can optimize the product to support some of those experiences, but we're not there yet. I think the ambition exists. It's just we gotta kind of go a step at a time.
I was interested because I know that Tinder is operational everywhere in the world, and I was interested how it functions in a more socially conservative country like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Pakistan, any of those countries. But anecdotally, I heard that it is being used more as a social networking tool in those countries than a hookup app.
It's being used. I think first of all, it's solving a universal problem. Doesn't matter where you live, who you are, how old you are. I think it lowers the barriers to meeting somebody, which I think everyone can make use of. And then I think culturally, yes, there's different, every product is used differently based on where you are. And I think, it's too early to tell what's happening in what are the exact nuances, but we do see some differences in the meaning that Tinder has to various audiences.
I know that, well, Tinder, for everyone here, it's a free app, but you've partially monetized it. You can pay for advanced usage. I understand that you can, there's the pass, you can now
Plus.
rewind, and there's Tinder Plus,
Yes.
which means that you can hook up with, you can
Yep.
make contact with people in other countries before you actually go there.
Yeah.
Are there any other plans to monetize it or anything else in the pipeline?
Well, so I think we're gonna expand the Tinder Plus offering. We're so excited because Tinder's still free, and then we launched a set of features that kind of superpowers, as we like to look at it, that people can leverage if they want, and you don't have to use it. But we take it very seriously that people are paying us for an advanced feature set on Tinder, and we're going to constantly evolve that. So I think the focus when you think about revenue is making Tinder Plus even more valuable as we go, and we're going to continuously add a bunch to that.
I have some suggestions for
Okay,
extra
I'd
components.
love to hear.
I've had a little experiment on the way here.
Yeah?
I think there shouldn't just be a yes or a no swipe. This might say something more about me, but I think there should definitely be a maybe swipe, where you can swipe up or something. Is that just...
Why are you so indecisive?
Maybe that's the thrill, that you've got to say no forever or yes to whatever. And also, I thought maybe a Tinder rating, like you have a Uber rating. Can't you have like a Tinder rating for like perverts and weirdos and time wasters? No?
Maybe. We do have ways of tracking behavior, and actually all the information we gather, including people's behaviors and how likable they are on Tinder, factors in to this algorithm that we use to rank people and make them relevant. Kind of how Google has an algorithm.
So it's not
for search.
random how you select the people that you match. So because I've noticed, I on the way here I saw there were loads of Pakistanis. I thought, how did they know that I've got a Pakistani history? There was lots of people with beards. It's not random.
There's a lot of intelligence that goes into how we generate these recommendations, but ultimately it's the user, it's you, that gets to curate your experience. And I think the brilliance of Tinder, aside from what happens behind the scene, is that we've made it so easy for you to say yes or no that you can actually pick, and you're in control of your experience, which I think other products you think about, it's like things are pushed to you, but with Tinder there's this like symbiotic relationship that the user has with the interface.
But is how easy it is and the number of options you have, is there a danger in perhaps making us sort of dissatisfied because the grass is always greener? Does it undermine long-term relationships and commitment because there's always a sense that, oh well, there's someone else I could just swipe away?
Well, I think first of all there's countless marriages that have resulted from Tinder, and friendships and everything, but I actually fear a world where you don't have options, because then you have to settle with what you have, and you might not be happy in the relationship. But you don't leave the relationship. No, I think the beauty of Tinder is it gets you to the point where you're like, oh my God, that's the one, and I don't want anyone else.
Apparently, there's something called love at first swipe.
Yes.
I really like.
I mean, I might be a romantic, but I do think that there is one that sort of stops you from thinking about everyone else. And I think when you do have that optionality, you get to that point sooner, and you don't have to settle for somebody who, a lot of people are in unhappy relationships because they feel like they don't have options. So I think you can flip that around.
I was really interested in the fact that you have now a full-time researcher who analyzes all the data that you've obviously accumulated, and you have this massive treasure trove of data.
Yes.
What are you going to do with that data, and what is it telling us about the human condition?
So it's early to tell. I think the challenge for us has been first effectively capturing that data in a safe way. And now that we've done that, now the fun starts. Now we have a team of data scientists and a sociologist, as you mentioned, that's sort of looking at this data and trying to make a better product. And I think ultimately what it's being used for right now is to make better recommendations to our users on who they see. And then there's anecdotal data and stuff where we find I would say, various patterns between different groups and geography and gender that I think are interesting. But it's too early to share any of those.
You can share what the do's and don'ts of a successful profile are. What are the...
Yeah.
How do you create the perfect profile for...
Sure. I have some insight on that. I think the perfect profile is somebody really being who they are, right? It's not a headshot. Actually, we do have data that headshots don't work that well because it doesn't say anything about your personality.
Yeah.
But we can capture a lot out of the photos that we see. So I think photos that show a person's energy, their interests, those work very well.
Apparently people with tigers works really well. Apparently that's been banned in New York, is that true?
It was banned in New York, yeah. I
There's
don't know
a thing of
where they
selfies
take
with
those pictures.
tigers.
There's a lot of memes on Tinder, but there's in LA we have people who take pictures at the LACMA. Apparently there's like tons of those on Tinder.
And no modelly male headshots.
Believe it or not, it's not as successful on Tinder because it doesn't give you an indication of who the person is. It's a very staged persona. And I think we're very intelligent when it comes to interpreting photos, and we can capture those nuances. And I think the most remarkable thing that we've learned, partially anecdotally, partially through some of the data that we look at, is that we are very intelligent and perceptive when it comes to photos. Especially now we're inundated with so much in social media. We can interpret very quickly in a split second. We can get a better first impression than I believe you can get in the real world by just seeing somebody across the room.
I know we've got to wrap up in a minute, but I know that you're no longer CEO, even though you founded the company. Yeah. And can you just tell us how that came about and what your role is now and how it's changed?
So I'm the president now, and I'm focusing a lot of my time on product. I think that's where my passions lie, is on building better products for our community and our users. And Christopher Payne just joined us as a CEO, and he's sort of helping scale the business and run the company, and we have an awesome relationship. So I think it's been amazing for me because I get to focus on product, do the things I love, and I get to learn from somebody remarkable to lead the business forward.
Do I get to ask 2 more questions? No, that's it. Sorry, everyone.
All right.
Thank you so much, Shomrad.
Thank you.